What's up, guys? Flippin' Steve back today with another video, and today I want to be talking about base cards, and in particular base cards of modern basketball and Prizm to be specific. So we're going to talk about Prizm, and recently there's been a lot of, base cards have been polarizing. Let's just say what it is. People either don't want them, people want variations, people want serial numbers, parallels. Basically, people want rarity and people want scarcity, especially in a market right now that's down, down from big time price hikes, and people just want to put their money into what they think might be safe or more safe and more liquid, but in some cases may not be more liquid. Now, I'm not going to touch on liquidity very much in this video. That's going to be a next video where I specifically just talk about parallels in general. This one is going to be about base cards. And yes, even I myself have been focusing on parallels and serial numbers. You guys have heard me talk about it in the past, whether it be on a live stream, past videos, items I was looking for at card shows. But I do believe that there is opportunity and there is a time, where base cards are good purchases and are good investments to make, especially when you're looking to flip and maybe not necessarily hold long term and things like that. And I'm going to get into that, and I'm going to start right now by diving into some numbers. But before I dive into those numbers, let's dive into 4,000 subscribers, guys, which we crossed about a week or so ago. I've been talking about I was going to do a giveaway for it. I'm going to do 3 giveaways, one for each of my next 3 videos, starting with this one. So throughout this video or sometime during this video, I'm going to ask you guys a question, and I'm going to want you to answer in the comments below to get yourself registered to win the first prize, which is a 2020 Prizm football hanger pack, still sealed. Going to send this out to a random comment from this video, but you got to answer the question that I'll ask, maybe halfway through. We'll see when I ask it. I'll probably forget and end up asking it at the end, but we'll see. Let's go ahead and dive into some numbers. And when I say numbers, I mean pop reports. Let's just look at some pop reports on some modern basketball cards. And I'm going to start in 2012 and work until 2019, the Zion rookie class, because that's the modern basketball market that most people are focused on. Most of those players are playing now and establishing their legacies, and people want to know what and who to buy. And that's not what this is going to be. It's not going to be players to target or anything, but I will talk about some opportunity. Let's go ahead and get into some numbers. 2012, let's talk about the Kawhi in a PSA 10, 1,100. So you're right at 1,100 on the Kawhi. The Anthony Davis, right around 1,400. So you're looking at 1,400 PSA 10 Prizms of Anthony Davis in a base, and 1,100 in Kawhi in a base. That's not a lot for players of their caliber. Next up, 2013 Giannis Prizm, which this card has been just diving hard. Combination of things on all these cards, whether it's the market, the player, people losing confidence in their team, things like that. The Bucks look terrible. Giannis is, a lot of people just aren't behind Giannis anymore. 2,600 PSA 10s in the Prizm for Giannis. Let's go next to a player who's just as hot as anybody in the league right now, and it's Joel Embiid. Had a monster game last night. His 2014 Prizm in a PSA 10, again, right around 1,100. 1,115. That's not a lot. Let's keep on going. Devin Booker, one of the hottest young players that everyone's talking about. The Phoenix Suns, kicking butt in the playoffs. His base Prizm in a PSA 10, 1,437. 1,437. Jokic on the Nuggets. MVP candidate, more than likely going to win MVP. 594 PSA 10s. 594 base Prizm PSA 10 rookie cards. Let's step it up to 2017. I'm just going to pull Jason Tatum out of this set. I know Donovan Mitchell is there. I know De'Aaron Fox is in there. There's different players in there. But let's talk about Jason Tatum. He tends to generate the most buzz even when he's not playing. 5,100. 5,100. So you're starting to see these numbers go up. However, that's still not a gargantuan number, because we're going to bump right up now, and you guys know what card I'm going to talk about. The 2018 Luka Prizm, 17,115 and counting. Now remember, all of these are and counting. and counting. Remember that. We don't know what's coming back from PSA. But even if some of these other numbers that I've already talked about doubled, you're still looking at a Luka currently at 17,115 in the pop report. And let's look at the Luka silver. Nearly 2,100, 2,053 in the silver. Zion, 2019, 17,850. Almost 18,000 of that card already. You're talking about going back to the 2012 where Kawhi only has 1,100. And that card is like 9 years old. 9 years old. The Zion is 1 year old and already has nearly 18,000 PSA 10s. So needless to say, as cards get newer, the pop reports are going up and up and up and up. Now, I have heard, stay away from base, don't buy base, base is the devil, but if you think about it, I talked about the Luka Prizm Silver being at 2,100. And if you go back and you look at it, Jokic, 594, Booker, 1,437, Embiid, 1,100, Kawhi, 1,100, AD, 1,430. I mean, they have less base PSA 10s than Luka has in a silver PSA 10. So take that into account, guys. When you're talking about buying base cards, for me personally, I'm staying away from 2018 and newer. But if I'm looking to buy rookies of guys that I think have potential in the future, and right now, buying some of these guys isn't a good idea. The market's down. Guys like Jokic and Booker and Embiid, Kawhi, these guys are still playing. It's never a good time to buy their cards when they're still playing and they're in the playoffs. You tend to want to aim for this stuff when these guys are out of the spotlight, whether they're eliminated, whether they're injured, whether they have a bad game, a bad series, whatever. You want to buy them when everybody's down on them. Right now, like Donovan Mitchell. If you're not holding your Donovan Mitchells right now, guys, it's probably too late because he blew up last night. And if you woke up this morning and was like, I got to get on eBay and get some Donovan Mitchells, more than likely you're paying a premium. So what I want to talk about, with the Prizm is that Prizm is king. It's still king. We've pushed where we wanted Select to overtake it. Select Premier level has kind of overtaken it, but that's not necessarily a fair evaluation because Prizm Premier level is technically a variation. It has a less print run. It's the same, it's the same player on a different card, kind of a variation. So I'll talk about that in my next video. And you want to look for basement on these base cards. You want to look for basement prices. If you're looking for opportunity, you want to look for basement. And how can you decide, when is something going to establish a basement? Is the player still playing? Are they doing well? Is everybody selling their card? Because there's one thing that is always going to keep some value on these cards, regardless of how high the pop report gets. And that's one thing that a lot of people don't think about is they're not all going to be for sale or available at the same time, guys. And yes, I was getting a little hot, so I had to take my hoodie off. My face was turning red. I was getting hot and talking too much. But they're all not going to be available for sale at the same time. You'll see 17,000 Luka Prizms in the pop report. However, if you went to eBay right now, you would be hard-pressed to find 17,000 Lukas for sale. Rather, they're in PCs. Some are in people's personal collection. Some people are holding for the long term. Some people are holding for the midterm, a year or so, whatever your definition is. Some people are shop owners, and they only sell in their shops. They don't use eBay and other platforms. Some people only sell at shows. I ran into lots of people at Dallas who said they don't sell their cards on eBay. And they had stacks and stacks and stacks of base rookie cards. So whether it's Luka or any one of these other players, you're never going to see them all listed on eBay. And you're also not going to see them all listed on eBay at the same time. Some may end in 5 days. Some may end in 7 days. Some, may end and then a new one will be listed. So when you're looking at something having a pop report, say for instance of 10,000, you'll never see all 10,000 of them for sale at the same place at the same time. So there will always be a basement price on some of these cards. There are certain players that I think are approaching their basement and could be a buy even in high pop reports, just because when you buy at a basement, you really limit your risk. And when you limit your risk, your upside is there without the cost of much failure. I'm not going to talk about the players that I think are approaching basement because, again, this is not a buy these players or buy these type of things now. It's just what to look for. If you're the type of person that likes to buy base cards especially Prizm, with Prizm being, king in the hobby. The other thing that's going to happen is as the price of Prizm comes down in base cards, it's going to lower the value of other products. Select, Concourse is going to come down. Optic is going to come down, because if Prizm becomes affordable, people are going to buy it even more. If you look, even though the pop reports were high on some of these Prizm cards, people will buy them when they become affordable. What drags up the prices of Select and Optic and Hoops and so on and so forth is when, the higher quality product becomes out of reach for someone's budget. But when it reaches someone's budget, it now becomes attainable. And now, even though you have a big supply, the demand increases, because now you're touching a new demographic of people and a new budget of what someone can afford. Someone might not have been able to afford a Zion at $700, but at sub $400, it might become a card that they want to buy, and Prizm's still going to be the target that they're looking for. So increase in cards on the market, however, increase in people who can now afford that card will cause a card from falling below a certain price point. So just keep that in mind. As the prices get lower and lower and lower, there will be a stabilization. There will be an opportunity on base cards. Now, again, I love the parallels. I love the variations. I love serial numbered stuff. But there are some people out there who, like to stick with the base. It's simple. It's liquid. And there will be an opportunity, in my opinion, for that. And last but not least, and I might be forgetting some stuff, let's go ahead and ask the question real quick, guys. I'm going to ask the question for the giveaway. And what I want you to tell me is, are you currently buying base Prizm or base products? That's basically the question I want to ask you. Whether you're buying football, which it doesn't affect the football market as much, because pop reports are just a small percentile of what basketball pop reports are. So, base hasn't taken the hit in football cards that it has in basketball cards, just because the pop reports on base football still remain pretty low, even on your big players, like, young players that people want to buy, like Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson and such, Baker Mayfield, they have low pop reports. So the football market has held strong. We haven't seen it, the bottom fall out from under it like we have on some basketball stuff. But again, in the comments below, if you're buying base cards right now, tell me what you're buying, what year. It doesn't have to be what player, but what year are you buying? Are you playing it safe and buying the 2012 through 2016 type stuff? Are you still on Ja Morant and Zion and these players from the new Prizm products? Do you believe that the Luka is still a good card to own at its high pop report? Just drop that stuff in the comments and let me know. And one more note I want to leave you guys with, with PSA making price hikes. Now, I know there's a backlog, but with PSA making price hikes, does that create an opportunity to buy some players, even if they're really new? If it's a player that you really like, look at their pop report. And there's one that I'm looking at right now. You guys know this already, I like DeAndre Hunter. He's just a guy that I have been putting a little bit of money into. When I look at his PSA 10 Prizm, it's right around 1,000, okay? Zion, 18,000, DeAndre Hunter, 1,000. Now, I know they're not the same player. They don't have the same demand. But what I'm talking about is, at new PSA prices, people are not sending in their random young players and hoping that someday they get hot. You're not going to see DeAndre Hunter submitted as much. Guys like Nickeil Alexander-Walker, Jackson Hayes, whoever it may be, you're just not going to see everybody and his brother submitting everybody and his brother to PSA, because it's no longer, worth it. It's no longer worth the gamble. The price for submitting is just too high. But if you can find some out there that are already graded, okay, and they're players that you like, they have to be players that you like, some of these guys are going at the cost of grading fees. You can get some PSA 10 rookies for 50, 60, 70 bucks. And what happens if that player takes off? There's not many submitted at PSA at the moment, and people aren't submitting them to PSA now, and the pop reports are already low. DeAndre Hunter, like I said, has 1,000 PSA 10s. A guy like Cam Johnson, for instance, rated 900 to 950 PSA 10s. I mean, look up the players that you like, look up the pop reports and say, hey, if this player was to pop off, would there be a big flood of them into the market all of a sudden? Well, they got a low pop report. There's probably not a lot of them coming back. A lot of people probably aren't submitting these players because it's no longer worth it. So maybe you could gamble on a couple players and maybe use that as an opportunity to pick up some base cards at a bargain price and just hope that that player, said player that you pick, goes up. That's all I really got to say, guys. A lot of mumbo jumbo, a lot of rambling, but I thought I would get on here, just give my thoughts on base cards. I think there's some good. I think there's some bad. You decide for yourself and decide what you want to do. Just take this information. You may think some of this information was worthless, but maybe you take something away from it. If you took something away from it, get yourself registered for the giveaway, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on my next live stream drive to work. Don't know what it's going to be, but keep your notifications on because you never know when this ugly mug is going to pop up. Until next time, guys, good luck in your investing, and I will see you later.